Hello and welcome to another podcast. You can't handle the truth, or can you? Today we are going to bring an idea that I've been working on, which is how can we align our compass and care for the truth. So let's just kick in our intro and I will deep dive into this one afterwards. Welcome back. Okay, so it's been thought that we can hand the creation of evil and we can escape from the hamster wheel of self inflicted suffering to create true freedom and peace. The choice is ours. And we have a great work to do. In fact, this term is to refer to the responsibility of standing for and serving truth in life. And most importantly, the moral truth with a capitalized M. So if we dive into the great work that we need to do, each one of us individually, for the living, and when I say the living, I would say the higher consciousness of living. Um, there are a few questions we need to ask ourselves, and that those questions are: what do we care about? What do we really, really care about? Do we really care for truth? How important is truth in our lives? Do we compromise the truth about reality? Do we stand for moral truth? What path in life are we walking? Which way are we headed? What compass are we using in life? Does your compass lead us towards or away from what is better, realer, more just, and more moral and truer way of life? Do we have our compass set on the compassion to act towards bearing the moral truth and the good? I mean, care to symbolize the generative creative principle, the waters of life, life in nature, fertility, birth, growth, evolution. What we care for that motivates and drives us in certain directions and ways of living. We have free will, a choice to choose what to do or to generate actions, our actions. Some say that we don't have free will. That could be their truth. I don't know. But one of the things that I've been questioning is what we care for in life that drives us to act. Can it be based in truth? But it can also be based in falsity. Caring for a moral truth is extremely important in my point of view. I mean, some say that truth is love and love is truth. I would go a little bit deeper on this one, that perhaps love is a trap. And if we are here and we don't know the answers to those questions, it's because either our compass is broken, either we didn't have a minute to stop and ask to our eternal self what is really that we are seeking and what is really our truth. Because from my view, I think that each one of us has his own truth. There is not one truth fits all. No. Because if we are all different and if we are all unique, it must the truth must have those parameters as well. So let's see a truth type 1. And let's pick that one to what is the actual current condition. And this one, I will take you through knowledge, grammar, input, and stimulus. So this would be step 1. So truth type 1 is a grouping concept as a universal category to represent things as they are, what is. The truth is a concept to symbolize reality, existence, and the universe. Whatever is, is. Whatever was, was. Whatever will be, will be. And once something has happened, has an effect in reality. It is or was and can't be undone. We can't change what has already happened. The present becomes the past as soon as it happened. Only the future holds the power to create new action and change that we manifest into the present. The future becomes the present based on causal factors that lead to things happening. One of these causal factors is consciousness that can create, manifest, and generate effects into existence. Now, George Orwell said that who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Interesting, right? We need to seek out desire and care to learn the truth about our current condition, the truth as things are, both positive and negative, beauty and horror, light and dark, moral and immoral. We must have the courage to face the darkness, demon, shadow, negative, immoral, and evil in the world and within ourselves. So this would be the basic truth type 1. Of all the right and wrong, truth and falsity in the existing, manifested, generated, and created reality that is before us. We have to doubt what we have been taught to accept about our way of life. We have to question how we live. We have to be curious enough to want to do these things and learn our lives. So I would say that life is learning. This is how we gain knowledge of existence and become empowered to do something about our current condition. If you don't actively seek to understand, then you only tacitly receive the information that is being presented to you, right? Let's go now to step 2. Understanding, logic, processing, thinking, and all of that. So this would be the step 2. With all the information collected, we need to process, filter, and sort it all out. To discern truth from falsity and determine what information is accurate, correct, and valid, and what is inaccurate, incorrect, and invalid. So this requires diagnosis, evaluation, discernment, and judgment. We can return to gain more knowledge, correct our understanding, and keep learning more about reality in a feedback process between our consciousness and existence. From gaining understanding to gathering more knowledge and gaining more understanding over and over. As long as we care for truth and seek to continue to learn, we will always be able to learn more and refine our thinking, refine our understanding, and most importantly, refine ourselves. Once we figure out what is true from false, the right from wrong, the good from evil, the moral from immoral, we need to accept this truth about our reality and not reject it. We can't be engaging in positivity masks and wearing rosy colored glasses to ignore, to deny, to reject, to deflect or dismiss what is currently happening in our world and in ourselves. So acceptance is required. And on the truth type 1, the actual truth of our current condition is now understood. It's possible to input data about reality, process it, yet reject it because we don't want to accept it for what it is, right? So if we move to step 3 and we go and go after wisdom, rhetoric, output, response. On step 3, we would get to the conclusion that it is important to know thyself and is part of it's kind of a part of this philosophy, which is philosophia. Okay, philo slash sophia, philosophy. The love of wisdom. Wisdom is not simply knowledge or understanding, but acting on that understanding and living a certain way based on the moral truth, the path and the way of living as a truer, a realer, a higher version of yourself. I like to call it the original. Philosophy, the love of wisdom, is the love of right action. So in truth type 2, we got to the question, what is the potential moral path and the way we should be living, right? So it would be, we could classify it as truth type 2 is the moral truth slash law love. So love in a higher sense, not the romantic or other emotional sense, is the devotion and dedication to moral truth slash law. Because one realizes and recognizes the supreme value and importance of truth to determine an quality and condition of our lives. The moral truth law is an ideal that will determine what direction we should be heading in, what we should do and create into reality with our actions. And if we care for truth, we can actually realize and individuate ourselves into living in truth. So we have to want to choose to take in and observe into ourselves, our core being, essence or spirit, i.e., consciousness, whatever you want to call it. But we need to take it in as a moral truth and reject or negate and expel the falsity being lived. We need to change ourselves to do some inner, deeper work and transform our mindsets to embody life, exemplify, and become the way and the path of our moral truth. An example, the story of Jesus symbolized the way and the path of moral truth, law, love, the light, and life. He died for what he believed in deeply, with no doubt. We could say, if that story is real, or if that story is trying to tell us something, even if it's not real, but if it was left to us to interpretation, we could say that that could be one of the interpretations you can take from that, is that there is a believing, a certainty in his truth that it wasn't shaken by anything. And we create good I'm a firmer believer that we create good or evil by our moral or immoral actions. The spirit in which we do things is based on what we care and desire to do. So, caring for moral truth, I would classify it as extremely important. It is up to each of us to change our individual personal condition and the overall aggregate condition in reality. This is part of our personal responsibility in life and to truth. Truth contrasts to falsity. Truth divides itself from falsity. Truth is the sword, just as the story of Jesus symbolizes in the parable of Matthew 10:34. If you follow and live by the truth, you will be divided from those who reject it and choose to continue to live by falsity. If we only learn and accept the current condition of reality, but don't embody within ourselves the path and way of moral truth and choose to live by it, then all that knowledge and understanding will not be used to produce action. What we do as we manifest our consciousness through action and behavior is a part of who we are. Wisdom is doing something with what we know. Actions speak louder than words. You know them by their action. Actions, words, and deeds. We have a responsibility to grow up, I would say. That's our biggest responsibility this year. To know and not to do is not to know. Wang Yangming was quoted this. So this is living up to the potential of who we can be through our actions and behaviors and creating a better potential reality for ourselves and everyone else. As each of us progresses in degrees of embodying and living up to principles of moral truth / law / love, we become higher, realer, and truer versions of ourselves. This is part of answering and developing an understanding of all the important questions. Who am I? Who are you? To know thyself. Once you seek, learn, and have knowledge of the truth of our current condition, understand what is true from false, right from wrong, moral from immoral, and accept it, when you have chosen to live by the truth and reject the falsity from our way of living, then we can help others to do the same process of engaging in the hardest and the most uncomfortable work in life. the responsibility, the growing up. This means we need to share, yes, to speak and to preach our truth to others, for them to be exposed to the truth, the right, the morality, and the good. In contrast to how the world and possibly themselves is failing to live up to these principles of moral truth or internal truth. Adversity, opposition, conflict, division, and this is what we keep seeing since forever, I would say. I was trying to search for a time where that didn't happen, but I think there is no known record where you can read that from a time, a place, a moment where human beings were all together and working for the better a better place, let's say, for a better future for themselves, where they were all envisioning and creating a better home for all of us. It's all this division and this duality that we need to pay attention. Doing this requires that we have even more care, courage, and willpower, and no fear to towards the hostility of others who can't face the mirror of reality and themselves. This is the hard part of having people face the inherent division between what is true and what is false, right from wrong, and seeing how they are supporting or participating in the negative. There is no voice of truth inherent in existence. Truth does not exist in itself. The moral truth, what is moral, right? And what is right and good? All of them require a voice to speak about it. Those who are currently living, embodying, exemplifying, and being aspects of the negative, falsity, morality, or evil are not likely going to want to face the mirror and see what they are doing. They are conditioned by the current condition of reality. They have been tacitly accepting their way of life as good through the illusion of good and all the manipulative, mind controlled word magic spell casts on their minds. They think what is evil is good and what is wrong is right because they don't objectively know the difference between the two. So, what we have apathy to for truth. In contrast, if we are apathic to truth, then we don't care for truth and won't seek it out, accept it, and then live it. We remain in a state of ignorance, willfully ignoring, rejecting, and denying the truth in the current condition of reality. We choose to believe whatever we want, desire, or wish to believe. We agree to the conditioned stimulus of the standardized and normalized acceptability spectrum of our society and how we live our life. There is no need to learn, to be curious, to doubt, and to question things because we accepted the illusion of good as being valid, normal, natural, or even necessary. This is the wrong kind of acceptance, tacitly accepting the current condition and talking about the same things, not really deeply thinking, not critical thinking about the current condition and seeing what is wrong with it. This leads to a lack of understanding, a misconception and confusion of reality, living in falsity and illusions, and ultimately being fooled, whereby we accept falsity over truth because we don't actually care for truth, nor do we realize the importance of truth in our life. As a result of being fooled by lies, falsity, deception, and manipulation, we act foolishly and we continue to engage in wrong actions, even without knowing it. We support and we participate in some form of creating wrong into the world because we remain ignorant that it is even wrong. We may even deny it's wrong because we are too attached to it as the current condition that we have been conditioned into accepting uncritically. We accept what is being done as needing to continue because that's how it has been done. You know, it's tradition. We validate it through ancestor fallacies. This prevents us from changing our ways to instead to do the right action, since we can't even recognize and realize we are doing a wrong action. We are made impotent, unable to change through learned helplessness, accepting the standard normalization of our current condition and not trying to change it. To be apathic, ignorant, confused, and misconceiving reality and truth, to then act foolishly means we are a coward and in fear of truth deep down within ourselves, in our consciousness. If we don't develop true care, we go nowhere. We are limited in our ability to create true freedom and peace, perhaps because we never had a good sense of it. And it won't work out in the end because we will be working against it, right? Good and wrong and true and ignorance of what is right, good and true. So, what could be the remedy for apathy, you ask? Well, it could be care. Yeah. Overall, apathy for truth is to be and remain unconscious, dead, asleep, a sheep, unawakened, and uninitiated. We are dead in the coffin or tomb, unconsciousness to moral truth and its importance in life. Unawakened, asleep, we lack care, not living in greater care for moral truth. So it symbolizes a deadened heart center, a deadened core essence, spirit, and consciousness. When someone is literally dead, There is no consciousness or action in life, hence the symbolism of being unconscious. When someone is asleep, not awake, they are also unconscious and inactive. It is to be unconscious and inactive relative to being consciously aware of the importance of caring for truth and acting in alignment with truth. An analogy, metaphor, and symbolism is used to express this understanding of unrealized and unactualized potential to care for, seek, embrace, embody, and live up to the moral truth as a truer, realer, higher version of ourselves. When we choose to care for truth, and specifically the moral truth, we develop a higher consciousness. We became initiate, awake, and aware, where we are resurrected, rebirthed, and raised from the deadness, lower state of consciousness, so we'd say. We rise to a higher, truer, and realer consciousness and are now life, not he life, but life, into a new life, a new world, an afterlife, an eternal life, and an I am life that is given to us by the light of truth in our lives, the divine word of God, the Logos, the good. The underworld is the previously unknown darkness and shadow within us, where we face our demons in the darkness, and we need to use the light of truth, our truth, to battle these dark forces and put them to death. Then we gain life, and then we are resurrected and rebirthed, regenerated and recreated anew. And we can reach an afterlife slash heaven or a new world of being. I know it is all symbolism and not literally. This is the journey to the underworld, facing ourselves in the mirror where we are our own worst enemies. We are our own adversaries, our own opposers, that we finally have the care, courage, and willpower to conquer and destroy it. The world is a projection of my inside. So it all comes down to care for truth, to initiate ourselves, and more specifically, moral truth. To care for moral truth slash law slash love, and recognize the ultimate importance of moral truth in life to improve our condition and quality of life. Moral truth is the real capital and currency to pay attention and spend in life. This is to understand that speaking truth, although it may hurt some, is not a negative act, but a positive act to help them let go of falsity and better themselves in all our way of life. Because truth is love, and love is truth. Living this way in the service and sacrifice of your moral truth will create division and conflict because most people are very attached to their currently conditioned false worldview of reality. And they are very attached to their currently conditioned self view and self image that forms their sense of self, their ego, personality, identity construct. They will see the speaking of truth that contradicts the falsity in how they live their lives as an attack on themselves because they are very attacked to their subject self image, self view. And this self view, their sense of self, is linked to their worldview. If you speak about their false perception of the world on themselves in a negative way, the ego defenses and cognitive biases will be stirred up and attempt to ignore, deny, reject, deflect, and dismiss the truth that contradicts their attachment to falsity. Objective detachment needs to be learned and employed so that people get over their attachment to themselves and are able to face and recognize the truth. Truth is secondary for many, and they don't stand in truth. They choose to stand in the maintenance and sustenance of falsity, appearances and illusions through their eager attachment to themselves, their way of life, and with other people that they don't want to offend or hurt or lose a connection with. They choose to blindly ally or unite in falsity for the sake of attachment and feeling. We all know how uncomfortable a conflict can be. And certainly, if we get involved and go against someone's delusions of being right when they are wrong, things can even um, things can get even more inconvenient, uncomfortable, and not feel good to us. We either stand in truth, unite in truth together, or we are divided in falsity among each other. Only truth can unite. But many of us are left standing alone when there is a conflict. Many people don't care for truth to unite in truth. Many people simply want to get along by ignoring the responsibility we have to unite, to stand for and uphold what is right, good, and true. Once we let go of our attachments to ourselves, our erroneous sense of self images, and worldviews, then we can objectively discern what moral truth actually is. This allows us to break free from the cycles of attachment to falsity that keeps us locked into this perpetuating our problematic current condition and self created suffering as a species on this planet. We can end the creation of evil and we can escape from the hamster wheel of self inflicted suffering to create true freedom and peace. The choice is ours. It's always been ours. When we have the responsibility of standing for and serving truth in life, and most importantly, the moral truth, then we can see bigger changes. Then that is the only way things are going to change for the better. Truth is not a thing in itself, and truth can speak. Truth can only be recognized by consciousness through objective discernment of reality. Those who have gained truth can help truth disseminate and pervade into other people's consciousness. This the responsibility and burden to bear the truth, to stand up for truth, to sacrifice for truth by not compromising truth. We have to want to do better and help others be better. It's not about letting everyone go on their own journey and letting all of this continue for decades and generations to come. That's not standing and serving what is right, good, or truth. That is serving excuses and false choices to let falsity and evil persist in the world. That is apathic, cowardly, foolish, and fearful way to ignore our personal responsibility to the importance of moral truth in our lives. So the real task, job, and work in our lives, and that few want to engage it because it demands higher personal responsibility and investment in time, energy, effort, dedication, determination, and persistence. It's to look inside ourselves, to make that analysis, to ask those questions, and then take action. Make it count. Make it worth this time. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoy it. A big hug, and I'll see you on the next one.